Hey everybody, this is Justin with electricbikereport.com, and today we're going to be reviewing the Breeze, which is an electric commuter bike by KBO. And KBO is a new brand to the US market. So we were really happy to get this bike and review it and introduce the brand to our readers. KBO's basically priced this right around $1,500, so you can see that they're really stepping in and targeting that budget-friendly commuter e-bike space, at least with this model. And there's a lot of things that KBO is doing that we feel that they are headed in the right direction for a new company. And we're really excited to kind of show you everything this model, the Breeze, has to offer. So let's dive in and get to it. Okay, now we're going to dive into some of the key specs and components the KBO put in onto the Breeze, starting with the electrical side of things. They put a 500 watt rear hub motor that has a 900 watt max output. And to be honest, there was a lot of power on this bike. It felt a little bit more powerful than your average 500 watt motor. So 2 thumbs up on that for KBO. The battery is a 48 volt, 16 amp Samsung cell battery. And we love the fact that they stock this with the Samsung battery. Samsung has a lot of experience in the industry, obviously, with batteries. And so it's a good, reliable battery that's gonna last a long time. They have the standard LCD screen that gives you all the information you need to know while you're riding. So in general, on the electrical side of things, we do think that they did a good job. Moving on to some of the other mechanical side of things, one of the first things we always look at are the brakes. You know, with an e-bike, it's heavier, you're going faster. And so that stopping power is paramount. And we do think that KBO did a good job. They stocked this with 180 millimeter rotors with the Tektro Aries calipers. And we thought that combination was just a really good combo. Out of the box, they didn't need much tuning at all. Out riding and around, we'll show you later, but it really does have the stopping power that you need. So we did really like that. So on the drivetrain, they did stock this with Shimano Altus 1x7. Drivetrain, and we, again, out of the box, we were kind of surprised. Usually we have to tinker around with that a little bit more than we did on this bike. It shifts really smoothly and just did a really great job. So we like how they did spec that out with that Shimano gear set. On to the comfort side of things. 2 things that really did stand out to us. One was the front fork. They spec this out with an 80 millimeter SR Suntour locking fork, and it really does just take away some of the, when you're going over a curb or over some rocks or things like that, it just makes it a little more comfortable, especially when you pair it with the tires. They put on 27.5 by 2.4 inch Kenda contact tires, and these tires really are just really grippy. You can corner really well, they grab the ground really well, and they are very comfortable. So kind of bottom line, from a spec standpoint, basically KBO put everything in this bike what we would hope to find in a bike in this price range, and we think they did a really good job. Okay, so riding the KBO Breeze, a couple things that I noticed kind of first when I jumped on it really was actually people's reactions. As they saw me kind of riding around, everybody looks at this bike just because that orange just pops so well. And I just always get kind of stopped and asked, well, how does it ride, right? So that's what I kind of want to go over right now. I'll give you a good sense of the bike as I'm riding it around so you can kind of make a decision if this is a good bike for you. From a performance standpoint, looking at the electrical components, we talked about that 500 watt motor, we talked about that Samsung battery cell, and a lot of things that I like about that. It's the motor really does have power. Like I mentioned, I've been able to get up to speed with no problem at all. In fact, right now, I almost have to just cut down on the assist level so I don't go too fast past my camera guy. So definitely I have no problem getting up over 20 miles an hour on this thing. That 500 watt motor does a really good job, peaks at 900 watts, and you definitely feel that power. The one thing that I would say on it is when you're starting to pedal, there is a slight little lag on that. And so with that lag, what that does is just like right now when you're starting, it doesn't start right away, and then it starts to kick in just a split second. I mean, it's a very slight lag, but it is something to notice. I'd like to see them tune that up a little bit so there is no lag on that, but you can get used to it pretty quick. And like I said, you do get up to speed, really powerful bike, tons of fun to ride with that. And when you're getting up to speed so fast on an e-bike, it's important, obviously, that you have a good stopping power And so I like the fact that KBO did spec this out with those 180 millimeter rotors. It's the Tektro Aries mechanical disc brakes, and they do have good stopping power. In fact, when they came out of the right out of the box, we didn't have to adjust them very well, and that's definitely a plus for KBO. A lot of times we have to work quite a bit on the brakes when we get them in the shop. So good stopping power. Would I like it if they added an option to upgrade to a hydraulic disc brake? Yes. But these brakes are good, and again, I really like the fact that they spec'd it with that 180 millimeter rotor. They also spec'd it out with that 1x7 Shimano drivetrain, and I do like the drivetrain. Another, again, kind of thumbs up for KBO is when we took this out of the box and set it up, we really didn't have to adjust the rear derailleur at all, which is pretty impressive. Usually, again, that's another area where we have to tinker around, especially in kind of the budget sub $1,500 bike range. So good job there. The bike shifts gears really well, really smooth, and just does a really good job with that. So kind of as you can see, the components on the bike, they're pretty well done. Good quality components, just about what we'd kind of expect and hope for in a bike this price range. So I think they've done a good job, and it performs really well because of that. A couple things that I really do like. I mean, again, this is a commuter e-bike. So I'd almost kind of call it more of a comfort commuter e-bike, just because it does have this front fork, that 80 millimeter front fork that does lock out, just absorb some of these bumps while you're riding around the city. The saddle is very plush. I had no problem on the saddle, and as we have taken this out and test ridden probably about 70-80 miles on it already, I haven't had any complaints from anybody on our team. It's really nice and plush. I wouldn't mind it if they added an option for a seat post suspension, just to make it a little more plush, but you really don't need it. The handlebars, good width. The grips, a nice, comfortable grip. It's a little more on the wide side, and that's what I usually like. The other thing that really makes the bike comfortable, and not just comfortable, but just feel solid while you're riding, are the tires. We really like how they spec this with the Kenda puncture resistant tires. The 2.4 inch width is it's a really nice width that kind of, as you can kind of see, it's a little wider tire than what you see on some bikes. And it just gives a lot of nice contact and grip on the ground, and makes you feel really comfortable as you're turning, as I turn here. And they just make the ride more comfortable as well. And so yeah, from a comfort standpoint, the bike just does a fantastic job, and the geometry, the frame, just everything feels nice and solid, especially kind of at this price point. So we're really happy with that. Couple things that I would say to kind of pay attention to, and I think we've kind of been able to figure that out, but this front guard here, it's really close, as you can see, to that tire. And so every once in a while when you go over bumps, or turn really sharp, it will kind of snag a little bit and make some noise. So I wish that they'd make it to where where this could be lifted up just a little bit. But other than that, I don't really have much to complain about, and a lot of things that I do really like when it comes to the KBO Breeze. All right, in summary, we were really impressed by the performance of the KBO Breeze, and just flat out stoked by the stellar paint job. We really think this is a great looking e-bike, especially for KBO's first bike in the US market. As far as things that we really did like on the pro side of things with the bike, we were really impressed with the powerful motor. As I mentioned, it's a 500 watt motor, has a 900 watt output, but just felt like it was just a little more powerful than that. We really like that. But even with the power, it handled really well, and it's a very comfortable bike. The saddle, nice and plush. That front fork gives it just that nice comfort over rocks or off of curbs, etc. And the grips, just a really good comfort there as well. And again, I know we got to say it, but it just is a beautiful bike. The stopping power on the bike really was good. However, we would like to see them upgrade to a hydraulic disc brakes. This is one of the most frequent recommended upgrades that we make, and we would make that recommendation on future models. The other things that I think that they could possibly improve on, this front fender here you're gonna notice it is really, it gets a little close to that tire. And when you're turning really sharply, we did notice that it rubs sometimes. So it'd be nice if we could get in here and just kind of lift that up just a little bit. And then really the last thing that we'd say that we'd like to improve is on the battery, you can't lock the battery to where someone can't turn the bike on if they don't have the key. So you can turn it on with or without the key. And we do like it when batteries can just be put in and locked, so no one can kind of come and take the bike. So just make sure you lock it up and you'll be fine. But in general and kind of bottom line, this really is a great bike. It's a fantastic bike for people who are looking for a good commuter bike to go to and from work. Those who are really, you know, wanting to just kind of cruise around the town, around the city. And for someone who appreciates a fun and again, great looking bike. Kind of overall, we were really excited to see what KBO brought to the table. And we're really also excited to see what they bring to us in the future. Okay, so that's the KBO Breeze. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Down below, there's a link to our in-depth review that goes to our website. And as always, we really go really in-depth on the website with good pictures, all the information that you'd ever want to know on the bike. So definitely go to that link, go to the website. If you have any questions, you can leave a comment on our site, or you can also leave them down below in this video and we'll be sure to get back to you. And again, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give us a thumbs up. If you haven't already, subscribe to our channel here on YouTube. And you know, we'll continue to put out these e-bike reviews, industry related content and other things about the biking industry. And that'll do it for now. See you next time.